Welcome. This is the holiday edition of The Thriving Artist, but who knows when you'll be watching it. I am Dawn Tracy. You can reach us at the Thriving Artist Podcast or the Black Dress Play on Words on Instagram. And I am honored and just feeling all the feels because I'm a big fan. She doesn't really know it yet. I'm here with Ladie K, aka Kathryn. I'm not Mraz, right?
Yep.
Like like Jason Mraz.
Like
Are you all
I
related?
I think maybe far something who knows?
Really?
Yeah, I family that swears by it, and I have other ones that tell them that they're delirious. So, every
Okay.
family's got those.
Can you sing? Do you have, like, by
No,
prompt?
but I play keys to play piano, and I have since I was a kid. So,
Okay.
and I'm addicted to it. I love playing piano.
Really?
Yeah, I give piano. I'll play for hours.
Okay.
Right here, right now.
Well, speaking of kids, I'm not gonna do a full bio because I feel we'll delve into that. You started as a child actress. When I asked ChatGPT, I'm sorry, I know it's bad for the environment. Don't sue me. When I asked ChatGPT all about you, I was like, she started as a child actress and has been in the business for over 2 decades. And I only know that to be true because you recently had a birthday, correct?
I did.
A mile well,
Yeah, Miles.
milestone birthday.
Yeah, I'm
So
turned 40.
I remember when I was 40
Oh,
girl time, good times, good times, good times. But tell me about your time as a child actress.
it's funny because before I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to be a farmer. So
Good full time.
I still kind of want to be a farmer. But, the first time I got on the stage, it was sixth grade. And I think, I'm adopted. So little zip backwards is I was raised in a very Caucasian society, very Christian Caucasian town. And so I was kind of the black sheep of my family. I was,
So I was like, what? You're black too?
yeah, some may think, yeah. And now I've heard, and some people, damn girls.
You
Um,
get your black card, and
I get
that's part of the process.
But, and much love to the Black community as well, because they've definitely helped me in my filmmaking world, but we'll talk about that later. But just in general, I just had a really rough childhood in that way because, I think people see you one way and you don't see yourself that way when you're an adoptee. And so I just latched on to being different, people that are different, and we didn't have a lot of people of color, period. I was probably one of 5 Asian people in my school, and we weren't a small school.
Mhm.
So thinking that way, and they were Cambodian refugees. So I got kind of piled in with, as they would say, off the boat, right?
But you're,
But
Korean.
but I'm Korean, and my entire family is white as snow. I mean, these people are like rice. Yeah, like just they're pure.
No pun in
No, I mean like very extremely white. So when I think of myself, I thought I was Irish German as a child. Like I never really comprehended that I was Korean. I was raised in an Irish German family, and I always knew I was different. And so acting and getting on a stage and being able to be anybody I wanted to be, no matter the race, ideally, no matter the race or my background, was very appealing to me.
Mhm.
That's not how the world worked, but that's 10-year-old Katie Mraz saying,
Oh my god, did they call you
yeah,
Katie?
that's my name, Katie Mraz.
Holy shit, Katie Bug. They love it.
Call me Katie.
I love it. I'm gonna call you Katie.
They call me Kay now, but yeah, Katie's a cute name. And so I think that I just really latched on again to diversity. And it's funny because instantly I was already playing roles, let's say, in like school theater that were different.
Mhm.
I never got Annie. I was never going to be Annie, but I played the cop, which was a male role. I typically actually got a lot of male roles that they transitioned to a female role. And I would be the only person sometimes on the set that was a person of color. So I always thought that was interesting that I never got to be the lead. That's a wide eye-opening experience for a young actress of color
Mhm.
to know that, oh, you're never going to be the lead.
Sidekick.
Yeah,
Girl
so when you're
cop.
Annie, or if you're the Adams family, Morticia, they don't pick you because of your. I mean, I thought it would be different, and I would get the lead bad guy, or I would get this huge other role. But it was always something that was designed for the other person. So that was rough. But that being said, my first time on a stage, I just went crazy. I didn't even know that it existed. And, the teacher pulled me over, and no one liked Miss Wessel. Oh my God. No one liked her, except she told me that day, don't ever stop. You have something that is very special. and they're going
That
to
was a myth.
they're
What?
going to laugh at you, and they're going to make fun of you, and they're going to take you down for it, but don't ever stop. And I started that day, and I never stopped.
And I can't imagine anybody making fun of you. Now you're not gonna remember
I'm a very
that,
weird kid.
but you and I met before.
Oh,
And you're not gonna remember this, but there was this event called Cast Convention out in Schaumburg.
yes.
And
At a good time.
I don't know how, but
All ended up in my hotel room.
wait, we
Oh, no. Like,
that's not
my-
sexual, by the way. I'm not a lesbian, but if I was,
yes.
I'd be all over that. Anyway, we were in your hotel room and you were so proud of your film and you showed us your film
Yeah.
and you just fucking owned the room. And I was there with a friend of mine that I also interviewed, Marquise, and he is in love with you.
Oh, I love
Like, he's like, I'll see on Instagram, maybe you post a picture because you model and you
Yeah.
do your lingerie. And Marquise is like the first mother flubber on there, like, love. So when I told him, I'm like, Ladie K is coming. He said, oh man, I'm out of the country. he wanted to be here. So you have a future fan club president
Okay.
and Marquise, and I will be co-president.
Yeah.
But tell us about that film because I know about Pornocopia.
Yes.
And we're gonna talk about
Great.
put a pin in that. But at the time, it was a different film. I cannot recall the title, but it was a different film. So tell us about because you were very proud of
Okay.
that film, and I love that.
So I'd have to see which one it is because made so many films.
She does so much.
In so many films, but it probably was either You're Out or Kiss of Love, which are two features that I've been able to direct. Now, for those who know, I do a lot of things, right? So I production designed 14 features in 3 years at one point, which is, anyone knows, that's a lot.
I need to step my damn game up. Yeah.
Well, I guess we can rewind a little bit more. You know, working as an actress, you need a job. Everyone needs a job. And being an actress of color, you don't get opportunities. So instantly, everyone that's an actor, what they start to do, they start to write. And so I wrote a couple features actually in Honolulu with a filmmaker. And that was the first time some random dude took credit for my work. Because we had this news press in thing and they were thinking of a screenwrite. And I was also the actress. So they labeled me the actress and they labeled someone else the writer for a potential future project. Whatever, long story short, I went into producing. And I always tell people I failed, I think, as a producer my first time round. I was in my 20s. I thought I knew everything. I consider myself a pretty smart person, but I realized very quickly I'm not the smartest person. In my 30s, I was a really, really good moment when I was like, oh, wow, you know. But in my 20s, I was fast and hot, you know.
20s
And
are good.
20s are good. 20s are crazy. You know, and this time I'm a coast to coast model and I'm modeling. This is before the digital era really hit. So I'm traveling as a model and I'm working shoots in New York and LA and all over the place at that time. So when I came to producing, I was used to a certain, I think, level of privilege, even being who I was. And so I completely bombed. I mean, I yelled on set. I was angry all the time. I didn't sleep. I mean, it's probably my first short here in Chicago, which I made with my now husband. You know, so and we do not work together anymore, mainly because
I gotta give me one of those husband things. Jeez.
he's great. He works AV, and I work with him in AV as well for IATSE.
Okay.
But that being said, you know, I went through this process of trying to find what else I could do in the industry. You know, and that's how I started to do things like costuming or hair and makeup, and that was great. But then I discovered production design, and it is a silent position that's the loudest position on screen, in my opinion. No, it's hard because no one respects it. No one understands what it is. Most filmmakers, just the first department head that they'll cut out of a position, and it's sometimes an above the line, the edge of an above the line position, and typically the first person you hire and the last person that's on set outside the UPM. And so I decided to take on that craziness because I like papers, I like money, organization, I get all
like
that.
money.
I love money, but I don't love money, you know?
Okay, Mr. Krabs over here.
But then also, production science, a lot of crafting. It's a lot of work with your hands. And as a child, I was a sewer, I was a musician, I was, a macrameer. I liked just to make things. I was painting things constantly. So I think a lot of those skills, you add carpentry to it, and you can really excel at production design.
Okay.
So after doing 14 features, I discovered I don't like a lot of directors in general that not that I've worked with, but that maybe were like first time directors and didn't really know what they were doing, didn't know how to work with a production designer. I would say I worked with some incredible directors though, like, ones that, like I worked on $1 million feature and we worked with David Smalton and Kevin Pollak on it, as production designer on it. And it was incredible. I mean, the director is out in LA, Adam Dick. He's one of the best people in the whole wide world. But then on the other end, I've gotten a lawyer who had some money and decided he's going to make a movie and didn't have protection for actors outside in 0-degree weather and their shirts are off. I mean, like, yelling at the young gay guy on sets, and vanishing in the middle of the night, not feeding us, not taking care of us, having no facilities on set. And then they're supposed to be directing and they don't know how to direct. So I've been in both situations and I've realized that there's a certain level of protection that directors get to have when they're the director. And I wanted to start to do that for other people. Because I only had so much protection as a production designer or even as a producer. When you're at the very top and you set that tone for everybody,
Then
it trickles. It trickles down.
I hate to say trickle down because people think of Reaganomics and nah. Speaking of directing, Sarah was absolutely over the
Oh, there's right.
when, like, I love Sarah. That's my sister from another mitzvah.
Yeah,
She's doing all the things.
she is.
And she's like, Ladie K is directing. And so I already knew like that was going to elevate because I'd seen your work, because your reputation speaks volumes.
Oh, gee.
You do the industrials, you're on camera, you're behind camera, you're writing, you're producing, you're directing. And Sarah was just so excited. And I was like, you got to get her in here. And here you are.
Yeah.
Tell me what you loved about Cornucopia.
Cornucopia was my first project that I didn't have to wear multiple hats. I think that to me was something that I didn't know if I was ever going to experience because I'm a control freak a little bit with the producing. But, I had worked with Full Spectrum Features in the past as a fiscal sponsorship for one of my features. So I was already a little familiar, as well as I write for Real Magazine and Real 360, and I had done a piece, Full Spectrum in the past. So I definitely met them in a few different levels.
Lady, when do you freaking sleep?
I don't sleep. Well, I nap a lot. I'm a siesta person. So in the afternoon, I'll be gone for 2 hours. I'll just pass out. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I get up and I keep going.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Bottle that up because I need some of that. I got up and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to make it today. And you're like,
Maybe, they say if you take
coffee,
you bottle this up, you'd be a millionaire.
Yeah,
So I tell
pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, so you write for, I can't.
I don't do it as much now, but for a while there, I was doing it, especially during the pandemic, and I was doing a lot of Zoom interviews. So I remember doing a little part and piece on them at that time as well.
Mm-hmm.
And they're obviously they're Asian run as well, right? Eugene is.
Oh, I wasn't familiar.
So that's another great thing about them is that they do recognize diversity. They're all about LGBTQ, female directors, and I knew that they would be a good support system right off the top.
Okay.
And then that's important. Yeah, it was very important. And so I know Sarah was also very excited to learn a lot. And I don't have time to teach at a school, but I do love teaching on sets.
Okay.
I find myself a natural teacher in that sense. So yeah, we had a really great time. Not having to make every phone call, not having to worry about every meal was extremely different. I usually edit most of my pieces. So we had a full editing team and we had a great, post supervisor that was able to kind of keep speeding it along because when you're working on your own projects, it stops. My first feature, I was very, very fortunate. It was written by another woman. She hired me to direct it. So work for hire first time. Great.
Send money to Ladie K Productions or Smart Pretty
Designs with Creative Works Media and
so many companies.
LadieK LLC now, which is one that's just designed for making content. So we're actually, to kind of spin it a little bit, we're actually starting to do something similar to Full Spectrum in my company with LadieK LLC. We're going to start making narrative content with the studio that I'm at, which is through Paper Star Video, which does G&E, post supervision, and camera. And so they provide me all my gear, and I'm able to provide all the creative, and they do post and move it forward. But again, when you're working on your own projects and your team is also, freelancers, things stay a little slower at times. They get stale, and I already have them on features. So when we had Full Spectrum, it was great having a post supervisor, and still is great having a post supervisor that says, hey, when are you available in 2 weeks? We need to have a meeting, because that's me usually. And if I'm too busy, I don't do it. So I think that was the biggest change, was just directing, which is
Which is
crazy.
so you got to like really kind of luxuriate in the directing experience
Yeah.
and be so present because you didn't have to worry about all the minutia.
And it's just a different experience. I think I like producing my own projects, but I see an extra value in a great AD department,
Hmm.
a great production manager, having other producers besides myself. On the project, we had multiple producers because that's what we were provided with, full spectrum. And that was kind of a nice opportunity to have more than just a K.
Hmm.
I'm on another project where I'm doing something similar. I'm trying to bring in, again, Paper Star, working on an incredibly impossible short film called Skitters. It's Evil Dead 2 meets Joe's Apartment, MTV with cockroaches.
Oh,
We've got Emmy Award-winning puppeteers that are helping us make Muppets. We've got animatronics. We're doing laser printing and 3D printing of actors for comfortability instead of doing live cast with them with full goo on them.
oh,
We're going to be doing stop motion. We're going to be doing all sorts of VFX stuff. It's like movies inside of movies inside of movies. Sunday, what I'm so busy doing right now is Sunday we pull a body through a vent. Yeah,
well, not a real body, right?
as close as possible.
Holy heck, a cadaver or something.
Hopefully,
Is Jerry on this project?
Jerry is actually helping with this project.
Well, as soon as you said puppets, I'm like, Jerry,
Jerry
Sebastian Gonzalez.
He's helping do some prop fabrication for me. So he's making just like some, right now, nudie magazine and some fake Russian magazines. But no, and then he's going to help puppeteer as well. So we're excited to have
I would expect nothing less. So you have
him in as well at
he
some point. He's
did.
a very talented
This is
film.
like a very incestuous now podcast. All these
All coming together.
co-mingling, like Sarah and Jerry and Marquise and who Chris that we just talked about.
Yes.
Chris Nolan. You know Chris Nolan. We went to high school together. Chris and I have supposed to have had a meeting 2 years ago. And he's always like, I'm not in town or I'll be there. And then something falls through. So
Christopher Nolan, the black one. So we know the Chicago local favorite. And I'm not saying that like away. That's his cabinet.
Yes,
The black one.
he is the black Chris Nolan. Yes.
And to speak towards Black filmmakers, being an Asian filmmaker, which you had Tori as well here.
Yeah,
Films.
I love those gals.
I mean, that's that's unique to me. For many years that the filmmaking, the only people of color that were making films as teams supporting each other were Black filmmakers. So pretty early in my production design experience and just crazy run of features, I did connect with Christopher Nolan, the black
one.
one. And, I worked 3 projects with him. And something I noticed that I didn't notice in, let's say, at that time, Asian filmmakers or Hispanic filmmakers, or sometimes even white filmmakers, was the support, the community support that comes out to see these films,
Mm-hmm.
even if they are not done, or
Mhm.
or the sound is not great,
Or the best plot
or the
is
best
what
plot line.
the support is there.
The support is overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to learn from that. I wanted to see that in action. And now I'm trying to turn it and instill it on just other people,
Mm-hmm.
not of any specific mind, but wow, if people can get community members, that's amazing.
It is.
And so I think that was such an experience for me, because before that it was all, white leads, white films, which is fine, but there's a million.
It's not fine.
It's just, no, I mean, it's fun to work on those, but it's, I don't hate myself for that, but it's such a good experience to be in a team of just everyone was a million different things. And how I build my teams, I try to keep an open door. And if you're the best person for the team, great.
Yeah. And not just in terms of ethnicity. Like, I absolutely think it's important to have like a multicultural set, but also in neurodiversity. Everybody should not think the same way. And I think when I think diversity, that's what I think. I don't want someone that's gonna
Agreed.
kind of mimic what I'm saying or say it a different way 5 minutes later, and then we go with that. It's the beauty in is the differing opinions, and that makes it all the more fun, in my opinion.
Which is so true. Some of the earliest work that I did as a director was actually with occupational therapy children in pediatric care. So children with autism, children with sensory stimulation situations, you know, Down syndromes, deaf, blind. And, you know, people are always like, do you work with children? And I'm like, kids are easy. After you've worked with kids,
It's the parents.
it's the, it's the parents.
Sorry.
But when you work with children with special needs, especially, you you catch a lot of raw emotion, and you learn about the kind of the backbone of what makes life and makes children happy. And so, if, you know, it was just such a great stretch of the mind. You know, you'd have a light, and the kid would gravitate towards it,
Mhm.
and the parents are pulling them back, and you're like, no, 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 no. Let them have a moment
Mhm.
because they're just seeing things different, and they're enjoying things differently,
Ew.
and they're curious. And then
You need a show. You need a show.
snap a photo through the light instead, and he's glowing, and they'll be like, oh, that's
Because
what you saw.
I think parents need to realize, and that grinds my gears when parents do that, because children have never been here before. And so to you, yeah, it's just a sign. But to them, it's shiny, it's
Yeah.
glittery, and it's a different when you look through things through the lens of a child's eye.
Innocence there.
Yeah,
Yes.
without trepidation.
Yes.
We condition kids to be fearful, and
Yeah.
they lose some of that genius along the way. But
And they see humor in so much. And
yeah.
I like to think I see humor in really weird places sometimes. You know, I'm just driving, I'll see something happen, I'll just chuckle to myself. That's children. That's how, you know, and I think people look
Yeah.
at that at some time. I try never to,
No, I always laugh.
yeah,
I'm
oh man.
I'm a silly goose most days.
Yeah.
The last time we crossed paths, I didn't get to talk to you, but was at Pick Squid, the Pick Squid event. I know Sarah was here.
Yeah. Good group of people.
A great group of people.
I've worked with Rujani. I did an acting gig for her many, many, many moons ago.
Love Rujani. I was trying to get her in here, but she's such a busy bee. But Jared was here.
Okay.
What, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a little while ago.
Full circle.
So I love that this Chicago community is so close knit, and relationships are everything.
And we all talk.
And we do.
We do all talk.
We do.
So be careful.
No,
Not be a crappy person.
she put out the finger.
Okay.
Yeah, that's her camera.
Chicago is different. We have a community here that's outstanding. We are, I think, the best filmmaking community in the world.
We are farmers.
Yeah.
I
Because
thought you were gonna say.
you know, because I not that I don't respect LA and New York, but I don't know if you know Kwame. He used to be one of the film commissioners here in Chicago. He's now a deputy film commissioner in New York. And I actually was able to see him last year when I was out there on a job.
Oh, check
So you're
it
just
out.
chatting for a second, then he had to go run and do something with dinosaurs on Brooklyn Bridge and whatnot, you know, Jurassic Park shooting there, you know. And he had told me a few things that I've been trying to relay to other people. I said, hey, Kwame, I'm going to tell people this. He said, that's fine. He said, at that time, New York was at about a 50% deficit. This was maybe about a year ago, right? In film, just in film and creative film. And that's a lot.
That's significant.
That's significant.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, what do you think about LA? And he said, oh, 70%. I was like, oh, I could see that. You know, there's permit situations. There's huge lots that are very expensive. You know, they permit everyone. You want to shoot in your own place, they permit you in LA. You know, lot reunion's a lot stronger. There's a lot of things that are pulling, and obviously AI, a lot of Silicon Valley is up in California. So there's a lot going on. Then I asked him about Chicago. What do you think about Chicago? He said, I don't know, maybe 30%. 30%. That is half of what he was claiming that LA was at. And I do not think that LA has gotten better. We have an incredible tax incentive. We have some of the most
And
talented.
they raised it, didn't they increase?
They just increased it and they just extended it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to get better here. We have some of the best actors in the world. And that's something with Pornocopia that I was really excited about. And I'm constantly telling people about that. We had the best cast.
Mhm.
And again, something I got to do on that was work on a SAG short film, because I don't do a lot of SAG short films. I don't have the money all the time. But I was able to work with some stellar actors and to kind of work with these comedic actors. We got Second City, we got IO, we have these hubs for actors to come to, especially comedic actors. They blew me away. You know, they required so little work and direction. They became the character. In fact, I asked one if he was a method actor, and he looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, oh, never mind. You are that good. You are that good. You are so good at acting.
It is. It is the relationship. And shameless plug here. I think Cine City in particular, I know Cine Space is over there,
Sure.
but Cine City to me does such a good job of hosting these events and making it feel like
Rob is so
a
generous.
community. Rob, Stan,
Yeah.
GC, Serena, like everybody, Armando, even Armando. Armando always gives me shit, but it feels like home. It's very welcoming. It's not elitist and snooty that you get from other places. And I'm not saying like that's here,
Oh
but
no, we can say it. LA can be that way.
LA,
York can
New York, yeah.
London
I think that's
comes
different.
in. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I haven't been to London yet, so
Yeah.
I can't shit on London, but you
Atlanta not though. Atlanta comes in. You're just like,
haven't been, but hey, I'm open. Tyler Perry, knock knock. Anyways, you do so many things.
yeah.
If someone had a gun to your
I
head
said, which one?
and said, God damn it,
One?
you need to pick one from here on out that will satiate you in every way, shape, or form,
Like
which one would you pick?
acting. That's how I started. It's the only reason I'm here. Acting, again, we needed a job. Every actor needs a job. I've done them all. So you think I've done a lot here in film. I mean, imagine me out in the real world, right?
What have
Jobs have I done? Well, I worked in 6 hair salons in my life. I worked in 5 restaurants. I worked at a beauty world. I worked at telecommunications. I worked behind a theater. I worked at 3 ice cream stores. I worked catering. I worked at a Subway. I mean, I like carpentry jobs. I used to go door to door, do animal care or landscaping for people when I was a kid. I had like a lemonade stand. I would do car wash.
was that Katie with the lemonade stand?
It was Kate Lemonade. I had like 5 businesses as a kid. I used to sew purses out of people's old jeans. My friends would get an old pair of jeans and I would make them a purse out of it. And I used to make them for $20 when I was a kid. I'd make bracelets.
Yo.
Oh yeah. For a while there, I was doing costuming. So I was starting to do like high fashion costuming and costume design stuff, Spark Pretty Designs, and trying to do like magazine stuff. And then that shit. I like what I call consignment couture. I am an exclusive resale shopper. I do not believe in fast fashion. So
And you're a model.
and I'm a model.
That's
I can't wait to rock every red carpet you ever see me on. I am wearing resale, likely, 100%. And then when I get to those Golden Globes or I get to that,
Oscars, when you get to Oscars,
what are you wearing? And I'm going to say, Salvation Army, baby.
no, you just say it's vintage.
It's vintage. I
Because
believe in consignment couture, and I wanted to build an industry of taking resale clothes and finding people that are willing to have you make custom pieces. One thing I started doing was I would take fabric from fabric stores and
I'm holding it with both hands, DC. I'm sorry.
and I was making sandbags. So I have a line of sandbags I was trying to market for a while when I really in my industry because men and just female forward geared industry stuff. I have a couple of different ideas. So if anyone wants to take them, they're more than happy to at this point. But I have all these little like printed flowers and it's all stuff I would find at resale places. So it's limited edition style, again, couture versions. But I make like the 10-pound bag and I make this 5-pound bag and I make 2.5-pound bags. They were like itty bitty ones. Because sometimes, honestly, as a woman, I don't want a 30-pound bag all the time because I just don't want to lift that 3 of those, right? So I'd rather make 20 short trips than struggle and look stupid trying to carry up 90 pounds myself. So there's, and like now there's like female steel toe boots, female work gloves. When you're working in the industry, I do G&E too. I do camera department. I do AV. I build projection screens. I build LED walls. I do broadcast camera. I do photography. So, I'm in the industry. I'm wearing headgear all the time.
Mind blown.
I wanted to make like cute headbands and bandanas and scarves would have your radios in because I had a perforated eardrum and I couldn't put my walkies in my ear. So there's all these like weird, crazy things I wanted to build. This is just like the off-brand podcast that I'm talking about. Like all the things I never.
I don't even know how we could.
Well, I'm trying to also like do my own catering now.
Okay, wait. Before we get to catering, and before we get run out of time, can you just list because you have? I mean, I'm sure at some point some people are going to see this and they're going to be like, "I need to hire her." What are all your social media handles? All these variegated businesses that you have just spurted off.
So Ladie K Productions, media marketing, events, everything production, top to bottom. That's my main page. So LadieK Productions. It's a branding thing I did when I was a young, stupid kid, and I'm running with it for the rest of my life. So LadieK for Ladie K Productions. That will showcase kind of everything and tag everything. Then I've got Creative Works Media, which is photography, videography, um, post services. I do retouching as well for people. I do corporate headshots and whatnot. I do actor headshots. I do tabletop photography, videography for events and whatnot. And
Are you a mutant? There is no way one
I'm
person
a
can like be this great as so many.
I've got Smart Pretty Designs, which I did production design, as I mentioned. Prop,
Is that the Instagram
Smart
handle?
Pretty Design.
So not pretty smart,
Not pretty smart,
smart pretty.
pretty, because you don't want to be pretty smart.
I don't.
Just pretty smart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because, you don't want to be pretty good at something. You want to be very good at something.
Yes.
So you don't be pretty smart. You want to be smart pretty.
Okay.
But, costuming, fabrication, set decks, art department, painting. I do scenic painting as well. I do vinyl work. Like we did the Museum of Science and Industry was one of my bigger gigs the other year, where we had to do an entire conveyor belt of, like, it's Blue Paradox is the event there that's right now, the exhibit there. And so I did a 17-week installment of these conveyor belts that's got thousands of like cups on them, but eventually some are vinyled to say how many cups are recycled and not recycled. And I mean, people think vinyl is easy until the WNBA calls you to vinyl something, because it's a $3,000 vinyl job and they have a star in for 15 minutes and they can't afford it to have bubbles in it.
Oh,
You get that call. Yeah.
well, I will never get that call because I am not creative in that sense, but I am so glad that you are. That is impressive shit, lady.
Ladie K Castings, which I have a casting company.
Yes.
Casting company, because I just love actors. I love Chicago actors.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Wait. Pause there. Because there was a Korean K-pop music video.
Yes.
And I saw some familiar faces. I saw
Jerry was in it.
Jerry. I saw Tony.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw Angel.
Yep. Angel was in it.
Okay, how?
I mean,
Not the video.
So 14 years of Ladie K Castings, I've been able to just meet all the actors. Being an actor, I meet the actors in the rooms. So when someone tagged me in a group online, like an international group, saying, "Hey, there's some Korean K-pop people. They're coming here. They're looking for Korean people," and obviously I'm Korean and I'm a producer, so it just people were like, "Oh, Kathryn Raz."
Yeah.
I think she posted. Livy was eventually the producer that I connected with. I was at an acting job in Boston for a grocery store at the time.
Of course
Eating lobster rolls on the water.
Of course you were. You poor baby.
Which island? It was awesome.
You poor baby.
And I get this call, and I go to my car, and she's a whippersnapper. She's actually Indonesian. She's with Daru Productions. And instantly, like 3 minutes after the post, I was just about to email her, and she calls me, and she's like, "What's your phone number? I'll call you." And that was it. That was in May. And she's like, "We don't know what we want to do with you, but we need like casting, and we need that now." And I said, "Well, I know all those, non-union Chicago actors." They're like, "Well, they're all background actors." So I said, "Well, that's great." And actually, they were more featured than that. But, I was like, "That's great. We want to do non-union. That's kind of my cup of tea." I know a lot of actors I can do direct communications with. I can do SAG. I'm happy to do SAG. There's a lot of great SAG casting directors out there, and I'm not trying to compete with them. I'm not trying to compete with anyone that can get me a job.
You can, no one can compete with you, lady.
Well,
no one.
So that started officially in late May, June. So we cast all through May and June, and that thing changed. I mean, we were supposed to have like cars flipping.
I think I saw Alien or something.
Yeah, we had aliens. We had these old women playing like triplets, and they wanted me to find triplets that actually match. I mean, there were roles that they wanted, and then they would find an actor. So Tony was a good example. They wanted something else, like whatever, but then they saw him. They're like, "Oh, you're a metal kid."
He does have a distinctive
little mohawk, right?
Yeah, but it's a mohawk that kind of swoops.
Yeah.
And this is not like a disparaging comment, Tony. We
love
cross about we love
you. We love you.
But every time I'm like, it's the Doug funny.
I know. He knows.
He knows. Okay. So good. So if he sees this, he won't be like, "Bitch."
Yeah.
Bitch, don't go.
So he does great things. But the K-pop music video was absolutely insane. And then I came on in June as a production coordinator. They basically got to the point where they're like, "We need essentially a producer." I do a lot of production coordinator management work, which is essentially the producer locally because we're out of town.
Okay.
You just take the credit where the credit is.
But people love you. They gravitate toward you. Why do you think that is? Because you pour into so many people.
Oh, geez.
So who, other than your husband, who pours into you, number one?
And my boyfriend. Yeah.
Oh, do we have a poly situation?
Poly situation.
Damn it, I got one dude, you got two. Fuck. Anyway. Okay. So, yeah. I forget where.
So Ladie K Castings.
Yeah.
And then, but it was a while.
No. Wait. Why do
Oh,
we think that
oh, that
people
people
love you so much? Yeah. Why do they gravitate toward you?
I think because I think I'm funny personally,
Yeah.
people like funny people, but
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty transparent. Like, we talked after a little bit about this. We were coming.
Yeah. When we're coming in, because at the end of the day, I know I was like, hey, send me a bio, blah 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 blah. But I'm like, I don't even need a bio because I've been following her since cast convention, and you put your life out.
Oh, this is my life.
Yeah, you put your life out there.
Kid is jealous.
I know that you had a car accident and you got a new car, and
I don't even put a quarter of what I'm doing at a time.
but you're so transparent.
I like, and I like to be honest, and I like to call people out on their shit. Because you know what? I've been there. I've been where all these actors have been, people scamming them, abusing them, or whatever. I've been the PA on set. I've been on jobs that I didn't get paid enough. I got jobs that they didn't pay me at all. I've been promised money and never got. I've had bad people say terrible things to me, and I hate that. I hate that for anybody. I think that's empathy, and I'd like to lead with empathy as a person on set, period. Everyone has feelings, no matter where you sit in that line. I also come from a background acting experience. That's some of the first earliest jobs I got in the industry was background work. Man, we treat background actors like shit in this place, in this world, in this country, whatever it is, industry. It doesn't matter where you are. They treat background actors like they are indispensable and they don't give a fuck about them. And that pisses me off because guess what? I do that still. I'll background shit for
I'll
friends.
background
The shit out of my own films. I background shit out of a corporate video for a client. I think that's great. I think background people are irreplaceable and they show production value. And so I think just there with the casting, kind of going back to Ladie K Castings, I wanted to change that. I wanted pure transparency for actors.
It would be nice if there was like a
you did not get the job
for background. Yeah.
Yeah,
It would be nice.
They need to know they need to have the same accommodations on set. So when people want to hire my background actors, I say, well, they get the same food, get the same drinks, they're in the same room. I do not separate them. They don't get pizza, everyone else gets catering. I don't fucking believe in that. So I think that kind of may have been part of it. When people were like, oh shit, when we're on her sets, we get barista.
We get treated like humans.
And you
Imagine
get
that.
full respect of things. And then I do have Ladie K modeling, which is just, those the Marquis, the photos he likes.
Yeah.
Over that one.
Marquise loves the photos. I'm like, okay. I get it. I see you, girl.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I got to get back in the gym.
And then Ladie K Gourmet, which is one of my most recent adventures. We were working with Breville, which is an appliance company for a while. And I got really hooked. I've been cooking since I was a child. I'm one of those types of cooks that my aunt would call the neighborhood when I would visit her in Texas, and I'd cook for 20 people in the neighborhood at 10 years old. I love group cooking. I cater my own films that are smaller sets. So I make my own breakfasts now. I do all my own coffee, tea. I make jars of it.
Okay, if you need an intern, yeah, I'm off for 4 weeks. Yeah. I want to work on the Ladie K set.
Never eat as good as you do on the Ladie K.
Oh shit! I want that. I want that for myself. How do you take excellent care of yourself? Because you're doing a lot of things. You're pouring into people. What is your self-care go-to?
It's so weird. I love cooking. Cooking's big. I cook for 2 to 3 hours a day at least. I cook about 15 meals a week somehow.
There's only 24 hours in a day.
I put them in these little containers for my family members, and they can just eat up these like individual little. I know it's insane, and I labeled them. People around me are a little spoiled. But I love doing self-portrait. That's probably my favorite thing I do. I travel.
I've seen some of your self-portraits. I'm like, put them on the gram. You put them on the gram.
But it's nice, as a model working with photographers, there's just been a lot of bad situations. I worry about a slip here and there or something on camera. I don't know what people have. So during the pandemic, just started doubling down on taking my own photos. And I find it really relaxing because it's just me. I'm traveling. I found some sort of landmark, like in Massachusetts, I would find a beach. I would hang out there for an hour, take little pictures, picnic, into the ocean, go on my phone, take some more pictures, and then drive off to some mountainous area and do it all over again, And so it's my way of like traveling.
Okay.
So that's.
But you're also sharing your travels with them.
Yeah.
What do you love the most about modeling? Because I feel like you're very comfortable in front of the camera.
Okay. So modeling similar to acting, was a chance to show people anyone could be whatever they wanted to. Really early, I was a conceptual model, which I'm extremely proud about. I would try to do looks that maybe weren't typically a look for my ethnicity. I remember one of my first New York big like fashion shoot that I did was for Elements magazine, which is decent little, oh no, De Novo magazine. And I had an all black team with my hair and makeup. They looked at me and they're like, "What do you want to look like?" And I said, I want an afro. Not want a fucking afro. And I think you can give it. And that's what they did. They made this like mop top, total big fro, and this porcelain skin and these big pieces of clothes that like cover half your face. And you're like doing things, like really wonky and weird.
Oh my God.
And I thought that was so great. And the other people were white. So and for me, I'm like, I want to do the Ninja Samurai as much as I want to do the Cook of the Doctor, as much as I want to do the Robber, as much as, one time, one of my favorite photos, I did Charlie Chaplin. I thought it was great. It's goofy, it's silly. I can be a grotesque little monster. I can be an alien. I can be a robot. I can do all these kind of fun image concept things. And I don't know, no one's really going to guess you. Like, I can dress hip hop. I can dress country.
I've seen several. I've seen several looks, and just circling back to your wanting to advocate for others. I think also what came up in your bio was that you're an advocate for the LGBTQIA plus community,
Yes.
and what precipitated that. Right.
So I am bisexual. I came out in high school, and I do believe that bisexuals are typically the most criticized, yet probably the largest group in the LGBT community. So when I say I'm queer, people give me weird looks because I have men in my life. And I said, it doesn't make me straight because I'm married to a man. In fact, I've had a casting director who I lived across the street from at one point that kind of called me out for it. There was a same-sex situation, and I have a female that I was friendly with at that time. And I made a joke with her, but it was the wrong age range. So I said, no matter. And she wrote me back publicly and said, "You can't do this because I know you're married." I said, well, that doesn't mean I'm not bisexual. I think that doesn't coincide with each other.
Okay.
So I do, and that means if I'm going to advocate for bisexuals, well, how do I leave everyone else out and do something that they're doing to me? So I bring them all in, and hopes that when I do that, they're going to go, oh, wow, okay, she didn't even have to do this. She doesn't have to advocate for us. Like, absolutely, I come off femme, I come off straight. That's absolutely right. But anyone that knows me, I am not that femme, and I am not that straight. I've always been a tomboy.
Yeah.
And I think for most people in the situation, and this is probably why people gravitate towards me, I'm a very open book. I went through sexual abuse as a child, and especially as an adoptee, that was really tough for me. And I think women in general that go through any sort of abuse with men involved, they are going to sway into a comfort world with women. And so I think early on, that's what it was. And then throughout my life, it came back down to, why do you think because of the way I look, I'm not a certain way? Why do you think anybody, the way they look, is
people have to be comfortable with the image that they've created and the story they've created in their head.
Sure.
And I hate that. I was watching Morning Show. I don't know if you watched that, but I'm in season 2, and it's Reese Witherspoon. And season 1, they kind of set it up where you think she's gonna get with Billy Crudup. I don't know how to say his last name, but Corey's character. And then she meets Juliana Margulies, and they're in a lesbian relationship, and she has a really difficult time coming to terms with the fact that she likes women. It's like she won't term it anything, but she knows that she is attracted to that energy. So I can understand your perspective.
I've always been extremely attracted to female energy, which is funny because I don't have a lot of female friends. I think maybe because I have older brothers. I'm a big tomboy. Most of my friends have always been dudes. I shit and piss and swear like the other ones. I think I feel like I could pee standing up. And
I was like, what are you doing here? Do not. We're not cleaning up anything.
Like, I feel like I'm like burp a lot like a dude.
I just burped into the microphone, so I'm sure GC is like, really?
I do.
Really? Yeah. You do a lot. Just
anyway. Been one of the guys. But man, yeah, I love everything about the community that comes together again. It's very similar to the Black community in film, where you have
cohesive.
Yeah, that community is super strong. And again, I'm trying to set an example. It doesn't matter where you sit on that line. I'm here for trans rights as much as I'm here for gay men. in their struggles in life, as I am for a bisexual man or someone that's in the closet. No,
And when I had to write show notes, GC's like, "Oh, you write show?" When I started writing show notes. Two words kept coming to mind about you: unapologetic, unapologetic, like you are who you are,
okay.
and fuck anybody that's not on board with that. But also gratitude.
Mm.
Like you're always when you book something, you're always thanking people, even though you got it on your own merit
Sure.
and your talent. And I think that is such a beautiful trait to have.
Credit
So
what credit is due.
I just want you to know that I think that is fucking awesome.
Thanks.
And don't ever like what Miss Wesselman, what was her
Yeah, Miss
So what if there was no Miss Wesselman? If you could go back in time and tell your younger self,
what to do.
give her some advice, what would you tell her?
I tell her the same thing.
You tell the same
I
thing?
think success is, and I'm not saying competition as in people you're competing against, but it's a business. Acting's a business, industry's a business. So success is sometimes outlasting that competition. And being in the industry, God, like almost 30 years now, if not 30 years by now, sometimes you meet someone early and you don't know. And then you see him again 10 years later and you still don't know. And then you see him 20 years after you first met them, you go, okay, everyone else is gone. I guess it's just us. And you collect. And I think that's part of that never stop. Always keep going. Because most people I know that wanted to act for a living or wanted to be directors or writers, they're not, unfortunately. They might work something very adjacent, but they don't with that. And I think that's sad.
I think so too.
I think you have to keep going.
I think they get the naysayers, they let the naysayers in their head. And I was I was looking at a post this morning, and a friend of mine booked something, and I started to spiral a little bit. I'm like, damn, when was the last time? And I'm like, you were on set a couple weeks ago, blah blah blah. And then this loud voice was like, you have your own show. Like, how much
Can't
better
all the time.
can it get? Like, you have your own show. And I didn't think it would happen. I didn't set out for that. I'm like, hey, I think it'd be cool to do this. But each of us, I think, has a different path.
Correct.
And it is interesting to see how things intersect.
Sure.
Obviously, when I met you in the cast convention, which what happened to that, by the way? They did it once.
Yeah, like COVID and stuff, I think. They switched it up.
Ooh, what's that? I thought that was post COVID, but yeah, I didn't. I went and supported you, and because I loved it, not because I wanted something from. But who knew? Like
Yeah.
years later.
Yeah, exactly. Eventually, you
Yeah.
kind of just come back around and resettle again. And then here we are.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And I think we're nearing the end. And I know you have places you've got
Anyway,
to be.
and I got
That I watch is going on like crazy. Any final words, any words of advice to any creatives? If anyone would try to hold a candle toward you and try to do some of the things that you do,
yeah.
any advice for the masses out there? What would you tell?
I think one of my favorite pieces of advice is just to like be super nice and smile a lot. People say, hey, I'm a PA. What do I do first? I said, when you're on set, smile. Smile a ton. Do everything everyone else is already doing, but don't forget to smile.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say this too. There's this generation above us, right? This whatever this generation, I call it the Harvey Weinstein era. Let's just say that, right? This generation, and they're still alive. They're still alive. They're here, and it sucks sometimes. I've worked with them, and I've gotten the dick pics and everything. I've definitely had that environment, but they're dying. They are literally dying, Dawn, and it's
Yay! No, the industry's changing.
it's changing.
Yeah.
And they're never going to last forever. And so I think the next great wave of filmmaker is going to be the generation that I'm sitting with right now, that we still believe in doing things like long form feature films that I tell you, people under 20, they are not quite doing any. They are changing the way we watch cinema. And I think people are going to still need long form to lose their mind for 50 minutes or more and don't want just 15 seconds. So I think we have to kind of recreate what film is like. And most of us, we're empathetic. We care about people. We are running next to, again, people of all different backgrounds, all different genders, all different neurological situations. And it's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
And then we have these young people that are even more sensitive.
Yes.
So Gen Z people are just way beyond where millennials sit already. Like,
It's
you
a
know,
love-hate. It's a
it's
love-hate.
love-hate. I got a
It's a
19-year-old.
love-hate because
Sometimes a little
it's a love-hate because this is also the generation. On one hand, they are very vocal about this triggers me or
yeah,
that's gaslighting or whatever. But on the other hand, they're harming themselves. They're cutting. They're
sure.
huffing, and they're so it's a love hate. And I hate to do that because now it's associated with 6'7", and I still don't know what that means. But I think the potentiality is there.
There's a lot of emotion, and I think they're very like empathy and emotionally driven community and filmmakers, especially these Gen Zers. So I think we have the opportunity to mold them, to learn from them, and also, like you said, help them,
Mm-hmm.
shape them a little bit to be maybe a creative that has an outlet,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that, art is an outlet. I mean, I always wanted to say I was like the original starving artist, like a professional starving artist.
No, we don't use that here. Thriving, not starving.
And a self-expressionist, because I've always, as a kid, people were like, what are you going to do when you grow up? And I said, I want to be a self-expressionist.
And like now my mind is processing something. Did you say you had a 19-year-old?
I do. I have a 19-year-old.
Shut it.
Yeah. Her boyfriend moved in last year. He's 24. It's crazy.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so we will be having another conversation in 2026 with this multifaceted, self-expressionist, creative soul, beautiful soul. Holy fuck balls.
Not
Like,
bad yourself. That's so me to throw it back at you.
oh my
Oh, you're a beautiful person. I'm glad to be here.
God. I am so glad that you took the time because I know you got shit going on. So thank you. I am so grateful. I am so grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in and perfect end to first season. We're done. I am so in love right now with this interview and this energy. It's great. So take care of yourselves. Be sure to follow us on all the platforms that she mentioned. It's so many, but you can connect with her through the Thriving Artist podcast on Instagram, and I will tag her in the post, and you'll see our lovely pics. Enjoy the day.
Bye.